Hey guys, look at it. It's dark. It is a stormy night. And UMBC, this is our third podcast of the night. We're hitting on all the platforms. We were going to break down the tournament eventually, guys. And I had to come on here to Rover Sports, my homepage. You guys are the OGs. You guys are my family, and what an incredible night that I wanted to just share with you guys here before we tuck it in or before we watch the end of some of these games that look pretty mediocre. Look at Mizzou. Can Mizzou come back? And New Mexico State, all the upset bids.
Mizzou, that's the only game
that's the only game that we have left.
Hudson, a very boring game. And, very anticlimactic, that's the word.
Yes.
After an incredible...
And the day was anticlimactic.
Well, let's talk about the big news.
Yes, the biggest news that we have to lead with is this is the first 16th seed in the history of March Madness history, the history of the NCAA tournament, to beat a number one seed. And Bruce, hold this one for a second for me, please. You know
so you just saw a team, it's called the Golden Retrievers.
Where'd you put my phone, Bruce?
1 second, I think I got it right here.
Facts. I just need it.
There it is. So in any event,
Facts.
What did you think of that tonight? The Virginia Cavaliers, number one defense in the nation, losing by 20 points. Tony Bennett demonstrating class personified.
It was, we're brothers for sure, and
we're brothers from another mother.
The sports stock, and
here's Spencer G.
And
we're here at nighttime, 12:19 in the East, a beautiful Friday night, and we just saw epic history. And Bill Raftery and Jim Nance, what better team to bring to you? I can't think of anybody better.
Neither can I, Bruce. And it really is a game you'll never forget where you were. We were out to dinner, Italian restaurant, came back home, and it just the way we'll never forget where we were when we saw the 16 beat the 1. I talked about how today was anticlimactic. I think it is actually getting too dark for us to film. I'm gonna put on a little bit of light, Bruce, but it was absolutely amazing.
That's good. Yeah, it's late here, and obviously there's no light here.
Here we go.
Now here comes some light.
We'll do a little Q&A.
Here comes the sun. Ba, 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 ba.
So
we want comments here.
Listen,
we are Rover Sports Philly.
Yes.
Again, it's late, but I know everybody's watching. Everybody's hyped.
And I know everybody's
you just
going
saw
to see that.
Number 16 beat number 1. Right. I didn't think I'd ever see that.
And Virginia being the number 1 seed, everybody thought that this Virginia team, when Arizona lost, everybody was penciling them into the Final Four. I never considered the fact that
did the 49ers win?
I never considered.
I think there are a lot of people who are 49ers fans.
I never considered.
Here we are
the
doing
fact that
Jimmy
this would
Garoppolo
this would never
video.
go for
Not
my,
really. We're doing March Madness.
This would never go.
UMBC upsets Virginia Cavaliers.
It's going to be one you're going to remember for a long time. It's going to be in the One Shining Moment video. I mean, number 1 goes down. Tony Bennett couldn't have been any more classy. And usually the 16th seed, not that athletic, or usually they lack size, and that's what happened. They lacked a ton of size. But the thing that was incredible about this bunch is that they kept on hitting shots. They played fearless and loose, and that's how upsets happen, Bruce. You play fearless, you play loose. And UMBC had a guy, Lyles, that was like an Allen Iverson prototype at the collegiate level. And it was just a historic game. I can't wait to read social media all night long. It was a 16 over a 1. Now when people put that in their bracket, it won't be
impossible.
It
won't be impossible.
And I actually think we could see a domino effect because now 16 seeds, they're going to believe.
I think so. And the glass ceiling has been broken. Lyles and University of Maryland, Baltimore County, who nobody ever heard of. Right. Never heard of the school, never heard of anybody who even went to the school, didn't know the school existed. For them to beat the mighty Virginia Cavs when this was supposed to be Tony Bennett's year.
And I wanted to say this about Virginia, and we might leave this as a little 5-minute podcast. We're also going to be doing a podcast, eventually on everything that happens this weekend. But I wanted to say, Bruce, is that when you play low possession basketball like Virginia does, pack line defense, and you don't push the tempo of the game, you don't have a lot of possessions, your margin for error is actually slimmer. And if a team starts to hit threes and starts starts to do well offensively, it's not your style to come back.
They're not a good comeback team.
North Carolina,
they don't have instant
North
offense.
Carolina will speed you up. West Virginia or Press Virginia, Bob Huggins, he tries to get 200 possessions a game so that the better team will win. Because when you're rolling the ball up the court like Virginia, when you take the air out of the basketball, it allows opportunities for teams to come back. And Bruce, I do want to watch the end of this game, this Missouri game.
That was a good 3 right there.
I think
things are tightening up.
It could be exciting.
I'm rooting for Mizzou to beat Florida State.
I think it could be.
I'm not a big Florida State fan. I have to admit that.
Right.
And
too.
maybe, just maybe, you'll see an exciting finish. Right. And the best thing is, yesterday you saw
nice.
Arizona showed
Come on, Porter.
that a team. Look at this. That Arizona could lose to a team called Buffalo. So it almost made the UMBC Golden Retrievers believe that they could do it. And sure enough, we saw it. A 16 upset. A 1.
First
time ever.
Fought, I thought the day could come, but you never can predict it. And I can't believe it was this year. The Eagles winning a Super Bowl, a 16 over a 1, just a year of never.
Just a freaky year, a very freaky year.
A year of never. And the thing about this tournament day, though, that we'll remember is that this was the chalkiest day that we can remember. Marshall
You didn't miss anything.
Upset.
In other words, we saw Wichita State,
everybody carried
lay an
their
egg,
seed.
Creighton Blue Jays, our teams that we always root for,
right?
Completely played uninspired
Xavier,
basketball.
Cincinnati, the cream always rose to the top. And the thing about this UMBC game, you could play it out 100 times, and it'll only happen maybe 3 out of 100 times. And it was remarkable to see, and really all the number 1 seeds carried it. I would say that today
let's just break in. Terrence Mann
today was
of the Florida State Seminoles just suffered an injury and he's being taken to the locker room. And we see his mother there with concern. So we wish the best for Terrence Mann, and we had to break that in with breaking news.
This is a live show.
We just hope that he's okay. He's limping off.
This is a live show.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say thanks for logging into Rover Sports. We're gonna catch the last 10 minutes
of this. You guys can go back and
Florida
review
State
this podcast.
Please review it, share it,
We were going crazy. I mean, anyone who's a fan of sports, you just have to be going absolutely crazy during the moment when it happens, and I'm pretty darn near tired after watching all of that transpire. So thank you guys. Have a great night, and again, we'll be back a lot more vids, especially during this weekend as we find out who will be going to the second weekend.